What comes to mind when I say the name Michael Dell? If you said, the man who started one of the most successful computer companies in the world, you would be correct. But did you know that Dell, the multi-billion-dollar computer giant, was started by an 18-year-old in a college dorm room with only $1,000? That is only a small part of the story of Michael Dell and Dell Computers. Let's take a look at how Michael Dell found success before his computer days, along with some of the challenges he faced as he took Dell to number one, and how he has used his billions to help others all across the globe. I will also share my takeaways with you and would love to hear your feedback as well. In Michael Dell's 2005 book Direct from Dell, he shares how he had a high-achieving childhood and how he was a child destined for business greatness. His mom must have had something to do with it. She was a stockbroker in Houston in the 1970s, an uncommon occupation for a woman at that time. Michael credits her with an early education about the world of business, and he started putting it into practice at an early age. At age 13, he spotted an opportunity in the market for reselling valuable stamps and made several $1,000s trading them through a mail-order business. At age 15, he got a summer job in the subscription sales department of the Houston Post newspaper. He noticed something that none of the adult salespeople had. He found that if he targeted cold calls at two groups of people, newlyweds and new homeowners, you were far more likely to get a sale. He kept that job, just working Saturdays throughout the next school year, and made more money that year than his teacher. They say hindsight is 20/20, and had Michael Dell's parents known what we know today, things may have been different. Believe it or not, Michael's parents were one of the biggest barriers to his potential success. They wanted him to follow in the footsteps of his father and older brother and enter med school. But this was 1983, and Michael had caught the computer bug. A technological revolution had just started. Computers, up until then, had been large, bulky, remote, expensive mainframes that only big businesses could afford. But the development of the microprocessor meant computers were getting smaller and cheaper, and the personal computer boom was well underway. Thankfully, Michael didn't allow the hurdle of disappointing his parents to keep him from pursuing his passion. While he should have been at freshman lectures, Michael's dorm room was filled with computer components that he was using to build his own computers. Michael, being the savvy businessman that he was, found a profitable way to sell these homemade computers on the side. This time, he could see opportunities ahead far bigger than stamps or newspaper subscriptions. Michael was building these computers from components at a fraction of the cost of buying the equivalent computers in retail shops. That was because the manufacturers added a markup before they supplied the shops, who then added their own hefty markup. To make matters worse, most of the shops selling computers were just general electrical goods retailers, who were barely able to offer a minimum amount of customer support. Michael saw his opening. He would sell his computers directly to the customer, providing top-tier customer support at a huge discount to buying retail. Without telling his parents, he got his first Texas business license. With a $1,000 investment and still working out of his dorm room, Michael started Dell Computer Corporation, DBA PCs Limited. He quietly stopped attending freshman lectures and devoted all his time to the business. Within months, he had enough money to move out of his dorm room and into a high-end condo. He also hired staff and found a new office location to launch his business. That was 1983, and the next few years were an uninterrupted, fast-paced journey to the top. Michael says he made some good early business decisions that often trip up other entrepreneurs just starting out. From the very start, he was happy to delegate, so he only spent time on tasks that grew sales. He says he put this into practice as soon as he hired his first people. He made up for his lack of experience by hiring talented people who had experience and listening to them. When he was 21, Michael hired Lee Walker, a seasoned business veteran, to be the president of Dell. He knew that someone else could fill that role better than him, and Michael continued to concentrate on growing sales. Years later, looking back on that period, Michael says he still attributes his success to one thing: never losing track of his core competencies and strengths. He often recalled the reason he started this business all those years ago As an 18-year-old in his dorm room, he saw a huge opportunity in the market for a direct-to-consumer sales model, with a focus on offering great prices and superior customer support. But it hasn't all been smooth sailing, and Michael has had to face his share of problems and overcome them. Ironically, Dell's first big problem came from growing too fast. In 1989, with growth at a phenomenal compound rate of 97%, the company got caught in a classic business trap. It got stuck with too much inventory it couldn't sell. Almost overnight, memory chips went from being 256 kilobytes to 1 megabyte. In an attempt to meet sales, Dell had bought huge amounts of the old chips when prices were at the top of the market, and now they were virtually unsellable. It had a serious negative impact on the newly public company's profits for that year, but he never made that mistake again. Dell's direct sales method adapted easily to the introduction of the internet in the 1990s, and took the company from America's biggest computer manufacturer to the world's biggest in 2003, when it knocked Compaq out of the #1 spot. As the business grew, so did the challenges. By the turn of the century, Dell had surpassed $3 billion a year in sales, across multiple segments, from personal and business computers to servers. But as it continued to spend money to grow, it started to lose track of where it was making profit, and costs soared. Michael fixed this problem by hiring one of America's top chief financial officers, Tom Meredith, who eventually turned the problem around, averting what was sure to be a major disaster. In retrospect, Michael says he realizes that was a lucky break. Unfortunately, half of all startups go bust due to not solving these exact problems in time. The only constant is change, and with change comes challenges. As you've seen, Michael is no stranger to challenges and change. In 2013, when it seemed the company might go bust again, Michael took the company off the stock market and into private ownership. In true Michael Dell fashion, he turned things around and took the company public again in 2018. Dell continues to remain a leader in the technology space and is poised for growth and success for years to come. Along the way, Michael took time to carefully invest and protect the wealth he accumulated. That put him in a unique situation to give back to those in need. At one time, there were more than 80 employees in offices around the world, ensuring that dollars were being invested back into their local communities. Forbes estimates Dell's net worth as of July 2020 at $35.9 billion. Since starting Dell, Michael has given over $2 billion to charities, with a focus on children's health and ending child poverty. To this day, Michael still lives in his hometown of Austin, Texas, with his wife and 4 children. What can we learn from the story of Michael Dell? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave us a comment below. While it may be easy to say that Michael Dell's story points to the fact that we shouldn't listen to our parents, I don't think that's the takeaway here. I think this story illustrates that if you're passionate about something, and you've done your research and you see opportunity, you should pursue it. We also see Michael's fighting spirit. He never gave up, even when the odds were stacked against him and the end was in sight. Finally, I think we see someone who is appreciative of his success, and as a result, made it a priority to give back to those in need. I don't want to paint Michael Dell out to be perfect, but I do believe that there are several positive takeaways from the story of Michael Dell, and how he created a massively successful computer company from his dorm room at just the age of 18. We hope you've enjoyed this video. Let us know what person or what company you'd like to hear about next. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel below. Thanks for watching.